Hi guys, in this tutorial we'll finish off our main head sculpture by giving our character a torso. So just one final bit of anatomy before we call this good. Let's first start off with the chest. So for the chest, all I'm going to do is just use the grab brush or hit G on your keyboard and just drag this bottom bit out until we get like a chest kind of a shape. So I might make the chest around about there. I'm not going to do the scaling of I'm not going to do the proportion measuring of the chest and these other features. I might do that in another series, but for this one I'm simply just going to wing it and eyeball it. I want to have a little bit of, probably not the right way, but this part is not really my main focus. It's the head that's the main focus. So try and get this kind of a shape for the chest, and that's good enough. Okay, and over here we'll have to thicken this part out, bring out this mesh. There's no real limit to how far you can go, but for this one I'm just going to stop it at the chest. Theoretically speaking, you can actually model the entire body if you want. It really is possible to sculpt out an entire fully detailed character starting from the cube, just like we have from the first video of this playlist. We're going to stop at the torso, and I think I'll just draw the line somewhere over here, and we'll just expand this bit over here. From the front, let's just expand this. Might just go ahead and go to the fill tool and fill in this area over here. Fill that area, and just fill this entire area. And finally we'll go to flatten, and on the bottom view we'll just flatten this entire area. Okay, it's not flattening. Yeah, just like so. So let's start with the chest. So for the actual chest, we're just simply going to use a crease brush and make it a little smaller, and just crease it. Also what I'll do is turn off smooth shading. We'll just crease it over here a little bit, like so. And I'll just go to the clay strips brush and just hold down control, and we'll just cut out a little bit of this mesh over here, like so. Then just go to the smooth brush and smooth it out, and we're now starting to get the shape of the chest. Okay, and over here I'll just go ahead and go ahead and press G to go to the grab brush, hit F, and then we'll just pull these areas out just to make the chest a lot more pumped, and also we'll round it out a little bit over here as well. So try and get this kind of a shape. Alright, cool. So I'm pretty much going to stop it there for the chest. That's good enough. Next up, let's look at the shoulders. So for the shoulders, let's again go to the crease brush and make it small. And let's try to sculpt in the beginnings of our shoulders. In terms of the muscles actually flows like in this area. So this is, you can sort of regard this entire area as one major muscle group. So when you move the arms up, like when you sort of fold the arms up, the chest also moves as well. The shoulders are looking a little bit too small, so I need to give it a little bit more thickness. Okay, and I think I will go ahead and smooth this. This is actually called the deltoid muscle. So the shape is sort of like this. So move this down, and then we'll make the brush smaller and just pump it out a little. You don't want the highest part of the shoulder to be any higher than the neck. That's not realistic. Some beginner artists tend to try to do that to try and make the character look really, really strong and muscly, but it's actually not realistic at all. The highest part of the deltoid is always less than the neck. That's just a bit of anatomy 101. So from the side view, we'll just drag this out, and you want to have like a circular area here. So your main goal is really just to get a circular area here for the arms, or the deltoids, or the shoulders. So try to make it like a relatively major part. Depending on how buff your character is, you'd want to make it really big. But again, don't go overboard and make like the deltoid super high over there, because it's not realistic. Okay, and I think from this view it's not looking right. So from the back view, we need to extend this, so we get this rounded kind of a shape. Yeah, that's looking like some really big deltoids. I think that deltoid is looking too huge compared to the chest, at least. So I do probably need to tone it down a bit. Just calm down. I probably need to just relax it a little bit. So look at it from all angles and try to get like a ball kind of a shape. Okay. Alright, so from here I'm going to use the clay strips brush, and what we're going to do is we're going to draw in 3 muscle groups. So again, this is following anatomy. We're going to sort of draw in like a V kind of a shape, like this. Like so. That goes around the ball of the deltoid. And we also will draw in another little V shape over here. I think this one sort of goes straight on. It also has a little bit of area, and finally we also add in another little V shape over here. Another YouTube channel I recommend is Psychra. I learned a lot about anatomy through his channel as well, so you can actually get a lot of head start from that. Okay, so because I went overload with the clay strips brush, I will now tone it down using the smooth brush. Okay, and finally over here I'll just go in and scrape and make this part quite flat. Usually you would go ahead and add in an arm over here, but I'm just going to flatten this part out. Let's just cut even more. Yeah, something like that. So you'd have an arm in here, and in this area will actually tend to be a little bit more hollow for the armpits. Okay, so we just smooth that out as such. Okay, and again I think the deltoids are going a little bit too high over there, so we need to tone it down and try to move it like there. Okay, and because the deltoids look so big, I have to actually move the chest and actually make it even wider. Okay, and we'll have to move this out even further. Same at the back. Actually, we'll leave the back like that, but okay, so just go from all angles and make sure it looks right. Oops. This area is mostly like one muscle area as well, so let's go to clay strips and we'll just draw in like this kind of a muscle. So all of this is like one muscle. Okay, so we'll go ahead now and smooth this out. Okay, so I can keep going on and on forever with the deltoids, but I think I'll stop it at that and call this one good. So the next thing I want to look at now is the back muscles, which is the trapezius. So the trapezius muscle is that sort of diamond muscle that you see at the back. So if I can just pull up a picture real quick. It's this muscle over here. So it's sort of like this diamond muscle that goes over here. It starts at the top of the neck, goes down and around towards the deltoids, and then goes down towards the body. So this one as well shows that very, very clearly. So this trapezius muscle helps to make the male character in particular look really, really strong looking. So that's what we're going to do over here. We're going to add in this little diamond muscle. So again, with the clay strips, we'll just go a little bit crazy in the back and draw in obvious looking muscles like this, but then over here like this. But then here you'll notice that we will have not a concave but a convex shape that comes over here. So try and get this sort of a convex shape over here, and then make it go all the way to touch the deltoids. Okay, like this, and then yeah, we just simply have the muscles coming around like this, and then the rest of the trapezius muscle is like so. Okay, so in a nutshell, that is the trapezius muscle. So let me just go ahead now and hit S to smooth and make it look all very subtle. And suddenly our back has a lot of definition. But on the trapezius muscle there is a little bit of a crease that goes right down the middle. So let me just make it smaller. There is a bit of a crease that goes like that, so the trapezius muscle doesn't touch that area. And there is a little bit of an empty space over here. So let me just go to the clay strip brush, cut this area out. There is like a little diamond area over here, which leaves space for a little bone. So let me just quickly smooth this part out, and then go to clay strips, and then you have a little bit of a bone that sticks out. So if you feel the back of your neck, you probably feel that little bone that's just right on the end. and then we just go ahead and smooth that out. It's quite subtle to look at when you look at it on your body. But it's there. It's a little bit less subtle than that. I can now go and smooth it. And we have something that looks like that. Shift C, we can also add in a little bit of a crease over here just to accentuate the trapezius muscles even further, which connects to the deltoids. Deltoids, we can also accentuate that as well. Okay, so let's cut in there. So we can now see the trapezius muscle over here. So as you can see, we don't have any concave shapes. Everything is convex. It goes like down, then goes like this, and then goes up like this. So it bulges outwards everywhere. So even here, the shape isn't really concave. It's just like this muscle here is just bulging out, and then this muscle here is just bulging out, and then it's just intersecting at this point. And because we have the trapezius muscle there, that's the reason why this area is hollow. So we can go to clay strips and just hollow out these areas. Even if you feel just the front of your body, you can feel this sort of hollowness over here. But if it's really, really hollow, it's probably because you're a really strong guy. If it's not that hollow, you probably have a little bit of fat on you. Okay, so do something like that, and then use a smooth brush to fix up those weird looking results. Okay, so we can now clearly see the trapezius muscle from the back, which is exactly what we want. All right, so I think the back muscles look okay, the front of the torso looks okay, and we have the basic well, let me just quickly draw in the general shape, make it look a bit more buff in these areas. I'm just going to go ahead now and smooth out those muscle fibers, since we won't really see them with skin covering on top. Cool, and then maybe we'll just go ahead and Shift C, add in a light little crease over here, just to signify the deltoids. All right, and for the what is this called? The collarbone. I might just enhance that effect even further. So the collarbone is simple. The shape just starts like this. Think of it like a bike handle, except this part is quite long. Then it goes up again, and then goes like that. This one sort of ends at the deltoids. Again, if you want to be familiar with this, look at reference images online and watch tutorials about anatomy online. It can help a lot. So I'm going to be very subtle with this one. Okay, so for the head muscles, I'll just go ahead and just add in this little bit over here. Just around the cranium, and then just smooth it out lightly. So I think at this point I'll pretty much call this torso done. So let's save our work and let's have a look at it in smooth shading. Perfect. Of course, there's a lot more muscles on the back than what we see over here. If you look at a really muscular man online, like someone like a Dwayne Rock or an Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, you'll see that they have tons of muscles and lines over here. So mine is actually really simplified compared to that. I mean, it still looks strong, but it's still really, really simplified. There's like tons of muscles and things like that going on. I've kept this character more simplified for stylistic purposes, and also the fact that I'm not really an anatomy expert. If you struggle to get the character to look realistic, or you can't seem to understand how some muscles work, don't be frustrated. It does take time. You really need to learn how these muscles work, and eventually the more you sculpt and the more you understand the human anatomy, eventually you'll just start to get it. Eventually you'll find that your torso starts to look like a torso, your neck muscles and your facial muscles and the body and everything will just start to flow and look right. Okay, so that's the basics of how to create a basic head sculpture using Blender 2.8 and its sculpting tools. So we're not quite done yet. In the next tutorial, we will start to add in fine details and polish up our final sculpture so that we can go ahead and show it off to the world.